Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunadhira Vanachadi Jamunadhira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivijagacharya Srimad His Divine Grace Ananta Koti Vaishnavadinda Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gora Premanandi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from a very elevated section of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, the gopis glorified Krishna's flute. Text 10. Now there's probably a much sweeter melody than the one that I know, but I tried different melodies and meters and I couldn't figure it out. Vrindavanam Sakipavo Vitanoti Kirtim Yadevaki Sutapadambuja Labdha Lakshmi Govindavenam Anumata Mayura Nrityam Prekshadrisa no Vavaratanya Samasta Sattvam. That's a tricky one. Vrindavanam Sakibhavo Vitanoti Kirtim Yadevaki Sutapadambuja Labdha Lakshmi Govindavedam Anumata Mayura Nrityam Prekshadrisan Vavaratanya Samasta Sattvam. Govinda Venam Anumatta Mayoran Mrityam. Prekshadvi San Vavaratanya Samasta Sattvam. Vrindavanam Sakibhavo Vitanoti Kirtim. Yadevaki Sutta Padambuja Labdha Lakshmi. Govinda Venam Anumatta Mayura Nrityam. Prekshadri Sanna Varataranya Smastam Sattvam. Ladies. Vrindavanam Sakibhavo Vatanoti Kirtim. Yadevaki Sutta Padambuja Labdha Lakshmi. Govinda Venam Anumata Mayura Nrityam. Prekshadvi Sanna Varataran Smasta Sattvam. Vrindavanam. Vrindavana. Saki. Oh, friend. Bhuvaha. Of the earth. Vittanoti. Spreads. Kirtim. The glories. Yet. Because. Devaki Sutta. Of the son of Devaki. Pada Ambuja. From the lotus feet. Labdha. Received. Lakshmi. The treasure. Govinda Venam. The flute of Govinda. Anu. Upon hearing. Mata. Maddened. Mayura. Of the peacocks. Nrityam. In which there is the dancing. Preksha. Seeing. Adri Sano. Upon the peaks of the hills. Avarata. Stunned. Anya. Other. Samasta. All. Sattvam. Creatures. Translation. Oh, friend, Vrindavana is spreading the glory of the earth, having obtained the treasure of the lotus feet of Krishna, the son of Devaki. The peacocks dance madly when they hear Govinda's flute, and when other creatures see them from the hilltops, they all become stunned. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that because activities such as those described in this verse do not occur in any other world, the earth is unique. In fact, the earth's glories are being spread by wonderful Vrindavana because it is the place of Krishna's pastimes. Interesting. The name Devaki also refers to Mother Yashoda, as stated in the Brihad Vishnu Purana. Dve namni nanda bharaya Bharya, Bharyaya Yashoda Devaki iti cha. Atak Sakyam Abhut Tasya Devakya Shauri Jayaya. Translation. The wife of Nanda had two names, Yashoda and also Devaki. Therefore, it was natural that she, the wife of Nanda, develops friendship with Devaki, the wife of Shauri, or Vasudeva. Unquote. Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur explains Krishna Lila as follows, quote, in Vrindavan, the peacocks request Krishna, Govinda, please make us dance. Thus Krishna plays his flute, and they surround him in a circle and dance in time with the rhythm of his melody. And while standing in the midst of their dancing, he also sings and dances. Then those peacocks who were fully satisfied with his musical performance, out of gratitude offer for his pleasure their own divine feathers. In the usual manner of musical performers, Krishna gladly accepts these presentations and places a feather upon the turban atop his head. Gentle animals such as deer and doves greatly relish the transcendental entertainment presented by Krishna, and to get a good view, they flock to the peaks of the hills. Then, as they watch the breathtaking program, they become stunned in ecstasy. Unquote. Srila Sanatana Goswami comments that because in Vrindavan Krishna goes barefoot and can thus directly mark the earth with the symbols of his lotus feet, that transcendental land is even more glorious than Vaikuntha, where Vishnu wears slippers. Now, I have it's really nice. Okay. Vishwanath first. Quote, the forest of Vrindavan, being the place of Krishna's pastimes, has now become even more sweet. Therefore, let us go there and see that place. There is no fault in doing that. With this in mind, when Gopi spoke, quote, Vrindavan is spreading the glories of the earth, especially as being better than Swarga, because the earth is marked with the lotus foot symbols of flag and thunderbolt of the son of Yashoda, parentheses, Devaki Nandana. This is not possible even in Vaikuntha. And then he explains, Vishnu Purana, that's different than the reference we just heard, says that Yashoda had two names, Yashoda and Devaki, and therefore she became friends with Vasudev's wife, Devaki. Thus, Devaki Nandana here, you see the verse, means Yashoda Nandana. two references saying, I never heard that one before. Such a cow pasturing area is not possible in Vaikuntha. At that place, hearing Krishna's flute, the mad peacocks dance. Seeing that, all living entities on the slopes of the hills became stunned. Avaratani. In that place, the peacocks pray for Krishna to play his flute, saying, make us dance according to the rhythm established by Krishna. The peacocks made a circle around Krishna and dance. This is a different translation that we've just read. While Krishna dances and plays his flute. Satisfied with Krishna's flute playing, the peacocks give their tail feathers as a sign of appreciation. Krishna, in the custom of normal musicians, takes the gifts with glee and puts them in his turban. Quote, oh, friends, taste that dancing, singing, and flute playing. We desire to see all those creatures, beasts and birds, the deer and doves assembled on the hill slopes who have become stunned in bliss. And Jiva Goswami, what more can be said about the flute, which is held in his hand? Let us describe the glories of Vrindavan instead. Oh, friend, Vrindavan spreads the glories of the earth more than Vaikuntha, since it, the earth, is marked with his footprints. Oh, Vrindavan, which is marked with his footprints, spreads more glory. It has become glorious by wealth produced from the footprints of Krishna. In this way, it is incomparable. It has his footprints directly, not with shoes on it. Thus, Vrindavan is most fortunate. The gopis call Krishna the son of Devaki because of the words of Garga, : previously, he was known as the son of Vasudeva. By this, they also hide their feelings. Govinda means the controller of cows, according to the dictionary. They use the name in that sense, since Krishna became famous as Govinda only after the bathing ceremony by Indra. In the next verse, however, they cannot hide whom they mean, since they call Krishna the son of Nanda in that verse. It makes reference to the Vishnu Purana text. Govinda also means the king, or Indra, of the cows, Go, with De indicating special qualities. I always wondered that one. Go and Indra, but there's a Vi, indicating special qualities. In other words, the gopis refer to the son of Yashoda, who is surrounded with cowherd boys and cows and decorated with forest ornaments. The good fortune of Vrindavan is that it possesses the object of our desire. The peacocks dance because they mistake him for a dark rain cloud gently rumbling. Otherwise, they would remain motionless in bliss like others. This shows their extraordinary nature. Related to these peacocks with the highest natural affection for Krishna, all of the other species, by the mercy of the Lord, even in other places, develop affection for clouds which were similar to Krishna after hearing Govinda's flute. This phrase, or hearing his flute, should be understood in the following verses also. Vrindavan was filled with peacocks, mad because of the mantra-like sound of the flute, which was most attractive. Though the flute was the cause of the peacocks dancing, it was the cause of others remaining stunned. However, they stood like an audience watching the peacocks dance. They remained stunned on the top of the hill, since it was most attractive, being the sitting place of the Lord. Preksha can also mean a festival performance, according to Vishva Prakash, that's a dictionary. Thus, the other living beings remained stunned on the top of the hill at high places to see the performance. Preksha. The peacocks, on seeing that Krishna had come to the forest with peacock feather, decorations on his head, out of affection danced. Seeing that, he began playing his flute in joy. After that, all creatures, being detached from all other goals except seeing Govinda dance, remained on the top of the hill. In this way, Vrindavan showed itself superior to Vaikuntha. We cannot attain such perfection. We are most unfortunate. Their characteristics of dissatisfaction, which is natural in prema, should be understood in all the verses. That's Jiva Goswami. What to say? For the college program, Hari Sham's not here. The topic that I'm supposed to speak about at University of Illinois in Chicago, right? UIC, is something like the happiness choice, something like that. You know the title? Anyone here know the title? The happiness choice. So, we can go over there a little bit, in this material world. Is there happiness? Well, come on, let's not be, we see people happy. We see people unhappy. We see people laughing and enjoying and, this thing and that, drinking and hugging and, having laughter with one another. We see it. So how can you say there's no happiness? Is there happiness? According to Bhagavad Gita, that happiness is the attraction for that happiness. Senses contacting sense objects equals happiness. Of course, also distress, that you don't like the sense object. But it's the birthplace of distress. And one way to think of the distress, the birthplace of distress, is it's illusion, both the happiness and the unhappiness. It's a feature of Maya. It's a feature of Maya. When Narada speaks with Dhruva and tries to persuade Dhruva to not do what Dhruva wants to do, one of the arguments he gives is this distress that you're feeling. It's a product of the illusory energy. And thinking that you're going to get a kingdom, that's a product of the illusory energy. So in the illusory energy, there's no happiness, nor is there distress. It's illusion. Like Prabhupada describes in the beginning verses of the Bhagavatam, purports of the Bhagavatam. There's substance and there's category. That's a philosophical point. I learned it in college. Okay, here's a chair. And where'd the chair come from? It came from, according to philosophy. It comes from the realm where there's chairs. And then here's a chair. And then it's gone. So while it's here, I can sit in it, but then before it was something else, and after it's something else. So is there substance? It's category. Now you see it. Now you don't. It may take a while, but now you see it, and now you don't. So is it existent or not? So it's temporary, and the happiness and distress are temporary, and it's not what real happiness is. Real happiness isn't now you see it, now you don't. Real anything is not now you see it, now you don't. Just like, very simple example, the reflection of an object in a mirror looks like the object. It's not, there's no substance in the reflection in the mirror. What to speak, you turn the mirror a little bit and it's gone. So there's no substance. It's just a reflection. The happiness and distress of this world is illusion. There's no substance. But people that are really sad, they feel sad. And people that are really, whatever, giggling and happy and laughing and so forth, they're happy. But there's no substance. It's a reflection of reality. Now that's hard not to chew for people that are in illusion, because that's their reality, is the illusion. That's everything. You don't have that, what do you have? Don't tell me I don't like this, there's no love in this world. There's otherworldly love, but there's no love in this world, because in Bhaktisiddhanta's language, there's always difference of interest. So we'll work out a difference of interest and have love. But then something changes, and then it's not what real love is. It's not what real anything is in this world. That's the Bhagavatam's message. That's what Narada was teaching Dhruva. And how can we experience real happiness? So I've been reviewing a little bit Brihat Bhagavatamrita, and there's this really nice section. There's many nice sections, but one really nice section is Gopakumar finally makes it to Dwarka. And there's this one verse where he says, the happiness that I experienced in this place, that place, multiply it by a millionfold, and the next place a millionfold, the next place a millionfold, next place. But this is the summit of happiness. So there's the happiness of the cessation of material misery. Brahmananda. That's when the point of frustration with material existence comes, and one stays with that frustration of material existence, there's the hankering for the cessation of the misery of material existence. This is the Mayavad doctrine and the Buddhist doctrine, nirvana, or Brahmananda. Even the positive happiness, aside from the negation, the positive happiness of Brahman realization is insignificant to the happiness of love for Krishna. It's one of the qualities, the 6 characteristics of bhakti, pure bhakti, is it derides even the conception of the happiness of Brahman. Happiness of Brahman. And then there are those that have experienced that happiness of Brahman and look back, now experience the happiness of being in connection with the personality of Godhead in a loving relationship, and it's so distant and insignificant. And that's what Gopakumar says about Dwarka. But still, it doesn't cut it. There's different things that happen. The residents of Dwarka pull Gopakumar to the side and say, "Can you dress properly? This is Dwarka, and there's really nice attire, and just dress like us, and don't call out like that. Oh, Gopal! Speak like this. This is the etiquette." So there's many nice things. So the Bhagavatam is teaching us, and Brihad Bhagavatam is explaining the Bhagavatam, that this place of Vrindavan is so special. And that's what we're hearing. The section of the gopis appreciating Krishna's flute. What to speak of Krishna's flute, even the place. And they're in Vrindavan, but they're feeling this not being qualified to be in Vrindavan. Get used to it, Prabhus. This feeling of dissatisfaction is an ecstasy. Uh-oh. Because we know dissatisfaction is it's really uncomfortable. And then there's a transcendental dissatisfaction that's more than uncomfortable. It's an ecstasy. It's unfathomable. So the gopis, they're not college girls. They're not educated, they're village girls. The boys don't go to school. The girls don't go to school. They're not educated. But they're highly illuminated in transcendental knowledge because of their devotion for Krishna. The truths of the Vedas become revealed to them because of their devotion. And the truths of Vrindavan become revealed to them. And they hanker, even they're there, they hanker for becoming qualified to be in Vrindavan and appreciating those who are very innocent, like the peacock specifically. Krishna, make us dance. He's the control. He's the source of everything, and there's peacocks asking him. So he reciprocates. And then as he reciprocates, they reciprocate further, and they reciprocate further, and he reciprocates further. And where does it end? one Sunday ago, so it's 8 days ago, I was at the University of Georgia, Athens, Georgia. And there was a person that was attending the program that had never been to any program, Hare Krishna program. So I was using kind of euphemistic language, saying meditation takes you to the place of higher consciousness. And anybody that does meditation, how many here do meditation, okay? It takes you to a place of higher consciousness, right? So then, how do you stay there? The place of higher consciousness. So this, the question-answer session, one person was said, when you get there, we'll call it it. When you get there, do you realize that that's really not it? That there's something further and beyond? My reply was no. It's it. But there's no limit to it. Just go deeper and deeper. Even the ocean has a bottom, but this is an ocean of it, an ocean of higher consciousness that knows no limit. There's no bottom. You just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. Or, perfect, more perfect, most perfect. But it's not perfect. It's perfect. And it's beyond the negation program, the cessation of material misery. It's the happiness and consciousness beyond that. So what's that? We don't have the capacity. We don't have the capacity to understand it, to experience it. Yet, this Srimad Bhagavatam, this sound vibration can take us there. Just like the Hare Krishna Mahamantra can take us to this place of higher consciousness. It can take us to Krishna's abode. It's from Krishna's abode. It's non-different than Krishna's abode, and it can take us to Krishna's abode. That's Vrindavan. And then there's this feeling, of course our level is not up there, the feeling, I'm not there. That's a good feeling. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but it's the right feeling because we're not. And to hanker for being there, to being with Krishna. Keep your seatbelt fastened because it's a long ride to get there. That even when you're there, you're feeling unqualified to be there, and when will that day come, etc. The hankering and this language of disappointment, it's part of the journey. It's part of the ecstasy, which the gopis are demonstrating just in their language. They're appreciating the good fortune. We may also appreciate the good fortune of the peacocks. So Krishna is in the middle. They gather around him, please make us dance. He reciprocates. He plays his flute, and he dances. Now, it also, one of the commentaries says, and he sings. And when they see him sing, they dance madly. He plays his flute, and they dance. And others, so the good fortune of the peacocks is surpassing even the good fortune of the other birds and animals that are seeing Krishna from a distance, and they're watching the spectacle, stunned. They have, they're getting a good vantage point to see. But what fortune? Do we have such fortune? If we were to have such fortune, what would that be like? Watching Krishna play his flute and the peacocks dancing and dancing and dancing madly, and then they offer their peacock feathers in Krishna places. And the glories, the word in the verse is Lakshmi, the glories of the earth are being expanded by the presence of Vrindavan on earth. And the glories of earth are being expanded because in Vrindavan, Krishna is placing his feet, bare feet. So this is even more ecstatic than what Queen Kunti says in her prayers, that the impressions of your feet are making this earth planet glorious. And because of that, there's abundance. Because of Yudhishthira's being the king, everything is being supplied in abundance. That's, a glory of Krishna's wearing his shoes. But what about his bare feet and the marks on the soles of his feet? I was told, one of the teachers, I think it's Adipurusha, in Vrindavan teaching Bhakti Vaibhav, covering Canto 1, it's a whole part of his way of teaching is encouraging the devotees for the whole course of Canto 1. It's the lotus feet. So he shows the lotus feet and encourages the devotee to meditate on the marks on the lotus feet of Krishna. He's like really serious about it. And those students that got into it, meditating on the marks on Krishna's lotus feet as they're reading Canto 1, because there are different elements within Canto 1. That's the lotus feet. We're not qualified at all. And we have Srimad Bhagavatam, the lotus feet of Krishna. Kaladri, some of you know Kaladri Prabhu, you have to kind of coax it from him, but he, when in the right mood, he'll tell the story of the footprint impression of Srila Prabhupada that we have on our Vyasa-sans all over ISKCON. It's a nice story, quickly. Prabhupada was very ill, and he and some of the other devotees from Vrindavan went to see Prabhupada in Vrindavan, and they brought some ice cream in dry ice from Vrindavan to feed to Prabhupada. He was not eating. But when he was told it's ice cream from Vrindavan, he took some spoonfuls and said it's very nice. And then, in a humble way, I may be not telling the story exactly as I heard it from him, but this is my memory. He requested Prabhupada, is it okay if we can make an impression, because we learned this art in New Vrindavan, of how to make molds. And so, can we make a mold of your feet? Prabhupada agreed. So he placed the soft, medium clay, or whatever it was, in front of Prabhupada and firmly pressed Prabhupada's 1 foot at a time into the mold. Kaladri's description was, it was electric. It was so ecstatic. Just holding Prabhupada, knowing what it was. It's a meditation. As he describes this, you can kind of feel his ecstasy. And so that's where that mold comes from. Prabhupada's feet in Vrindavan, being pressed into some medium to make an impression. When Gopakumar gets to Dwarka, and he's brought before Krishna, there's a little place where the Krishna has his slippers. That's the way it's translated. I know the Sanskrit word is slippers. And from time to time, Krishna extends his feet just to give his mercy to the devotees. So that's seeing Krishna's lotus feet. Uddhava forcibly comes and places the head of Gopakumar on Krishna's feet and holds him here. We have the same opportunity through Srimad Bhagavatam. What's our qualification? Zip. Disqualification abundant. But the sound vibration of Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna's form in sound. We have that opportunity. So here we're already hearing from the gopis, and that sound vibration is not different than the place, Vrindavan. And we're hearing the glories of this place that what do we know about? Probably many of us, in the course of becoming acquainted with the knowledge of the Bhagavatam, understood for the first time there's a difference between heaven and the kingdom of God. Because in Western theology, there's no distinction between heaven and the kingdom of God. There's a very clear distinction. And what's the kingdom of God? And then there's Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, Dwaraka, Mathura, and Vrindavan. Gosh. And here we are with the gopis in Vrindavan. And that happiness is incomparable. And in that happiness, there's feeling of dissatisfaction. It's incomprehensible. It looks sad. Maybe we shouldn't go there because there's sadness here, there's sadness there. Why go there? It's not a sadness like here. Here is, so back to the starting point, here is the happiness and distress here is illusion. It's a product of the illusory energy. This is a core, very simple, core Bhagavatam message. Here is illusion, and there is reality. Here is category, and there's substance, and this is a reflection of the substance. There's no lasting reality. There's something, there is a reflection, the happiness of whatever. The happiness of friendship, the happiness of ice cream, the happiness of whatever it is that somebody likes. It's illusion. And the distress is also illusion. There's no substance. And then there's substance, and then there's degrees of substance. What a literature the Srimad Bhagavatam is. And not only it's like information, the vibration has the potency to carry you to that destination, the topmost destination. And the gopis are educating us about the place. The chapter is about his flute, and now they're choosing to speak about Vrindavan, where Krishna plays his flute. Because it's equally glorious by Krishna's presence, playing the flute and doing whatever he does. Okay, so any discussion? Yeah. He's going to turn the volume. Go ahead, speak. Just keep speaking, he'll fix it.
Okay. Did its different symbols on Krishna's feet represent different aspects of the presentation in Canto 1?
I don't know if he makes that connection, but there are marks on Krishna's feet, and they're details of Canto 1. So I don't know if he says, this is the thunderbolt, and that's the goat for controlling elephants. But as there are details on Krishna's feet, there's details in the first canto that are aspects of Krishna's feet, the aspects of the first canto.
One other question. These pastimes are unfathomable for us, shouldn't be a source of bewilderment or discouragement for us, because eventually we'll be able to enter into more and more understanding as we get purified by hearing from Bhagavatam.
Yeah, that's the requirement. That's it? Okay. Just because I've been reading Brihad Bhagavatamrita, or listening to it actually, when Gopakumar reaches Vrindavan, on the one hand, he's thrilled. On the other hand, it's not Gopal, but he's feeling encouraged. He's feeling that very soon I'll reach there. That is to say, the anticipation of meeting Krishna is good. With that anticipation of meeting Krishna, there's some unhappiness, disappointment, some hankering, some negative emotion. That's good, because you're closer. Just by having that feeling, you're closer. Because we didn't used to have that feeling. We're just like, la, la, la. It's good. It's uncomfortable. It's a good uncomfortable, because we're getting closer. It's part of purification. That hankering is what drives the purification. It takes us through layers of discomfort. Keep going. Someone else. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You were mentioning you were at the University of Georgia, I believe, and that the hardest part is maintaining our higher consciousness, I believe you were mentioning. And so my question is related to, generally speaking, we're able to maintain our higher consciousness when people agree with us. There's a nice quote I heard that says, it takes many agreements to build a good relationship, and only one disagreement to ruin it. And there was a pastime I was meditating on regarding Narada Muni, where there was a disagreement between Daksha and Narada Muni. And of Daksha's sons, his 11,000 sons, Narada Muni converted them to renunciates. And Daksha, when he didn't get his way, he started cursing Narada Muni. And the reason I like this pastime is because people may say Narada Muni's, he has a peaceful mind because he got his way. But we see in the pastime there was a disagreement between Narada and Brahma. And Narada wanted to convert King Priyavarta to a renunciate, but Brahma got his way. He converted Priyavarta to a householder, but Narada still maintained his peace of mind. So my question is, how can we follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni and maintain our peace of mind even when we don't get our way?
How can we follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni?
Even when we don't get our way.
Even what?
And even when we don't get our way.
Even when we don't get our way.
Yeah. How can you not agree with me? So then I maintain a bad attitude.
Because when we don't get our way, we have a bad attitude. Well, that's easy. I mean, the answer is easy. Just mood of service. If we have the opportunity to serve, what good fortune. Do we have eligibility? No. To have the opportunity, what good fortune. So just stay with the opportunity. Similar to Janmastami's comment, through purification. This is my opportunity to become purified, even though I'm not qualified. through the medium of service. That's how you know, get slapped around by the material energy. He says, let me serve. Take shelter of the lotus feet. That's purification. Despite the duality thing that goes on, this and that. Supposing it works out great, then I can become like, hey, it's great. That's a setup for further duality that goes the other way. Happiness and distress. Yeah, Janmashtami's want to add to something to this. Speaking about
the asat feature of relationships in the material world. There's there's a semblance of that asat feature in relationships amongst devotees, but yet it's a completely different realm. And I'm wondering, you know, it's kind of like the precursor to the devotional relationships in the spiritual world, I guess. We could say it like that.
Yes, it's a warm-up.
Yeah. Getting trained up to do it properly,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. Yeah. Is that you're looking for verification? Yeah. This is the practice. This is, you know, the sandbox where we're learning how to, you know, play with other kids so that we can be in the spiritual world and not be disturbed when somebody throws sand at you or whatever. Or not be elated when someone gives you their samosa or something. You know, but it's an opportunity to serve in varieties of service. Do you have something, Sri Radhika?
Guru Maharaj, the yatras that you conduct are so indescribably spiritually surcharging. And we like to spend the year at from the end of one yatra to the next one, preparing for the next yatra. So the next yatra is Vrindavan. And is there something we can do to experience some of the sweetness?
To experience what?
Some of the sweetness that we heard about today of Vrindavan. Is there something we can do preparing this during this year rather than just experiencing the oil on the surface when we get there next year?
Well, sure. Any one of the 5 things or combination. Serve your deity in that mood. Hear Srimad Bhagavatam in that mood. Serve the devotees in that mood. Chant the holy name in that mood. Get ready for number 5. Reside in Vrindavan for at least for some time. So, this is a nice section. It's perfect. And, you know, look inside and see what inspires you out of those options and do some more of those. You know, your mother spirit, you just read to your boys. So that way they're getting and you're getting. You know, you're in the Vrindavan mood before you even get there. And the hankering is part of getting there. Even you're not there yet. Anything else? Yeah.
Thanks, Maharaj. One quick question. Is there happiness in this world for a devotee? Because it seems there's some contradictory statements Prabhupada will say over and over in his lectures. There is no happiness in this world, but I think in the purport in the Bhagavad Gita, he says a devotee should live happily in this world and go on doing their service.
Yeah.
So
Everything is resting on consciousness. So most likely our consciousness is somewhere in the mixed category, something attracted and something involved in the modes of nature. Attracted to Krishna and involved in the modes, mixed consciousness, mixed by the modes. Shuddha bhakti mixed with the modes. Because bhakti is pure and our consciousness isn't. So the happiness that's recommended is the happiness in being connected with Krishna. Now what about the happiness and distress that's over here in this duality space? Well, there's emotion in the mind, naturally so, because here we are, we have a mind. It's a material one, it's not the spiritual one, it's a covering of the real one. But so we try to direct those emotions, even the worldly ones, towards connecting that with the pleasure of Krishna. I mean, that's like subtle. So otherwise, you can tolerate tangs tatiksha swabharata, the pain of the body and the pleasure of the body, the pain of the mind, the pleasure of the mind, and so forth. It's just with detachment through knowledge. But then we can direct those emotions, even the negative ones, in a way that is pleasing to Krishna. I mean, the classic is anger. And Krishna is inciting Arjuna to anger because you can't fight unless that anger is there. But it's a transcendental anger. But it's connecting the worldliness of a Kshatriya. They tried to disrobe his wife. He's angry. And according to Dharma, he's justified to kill them. But he's a devotee, doesn't want, so Krishna's inciting him because Krishna wants. So take those, even the mundane, influenced by the modes things, and consider, is there a place for this in service to Krishna? That's subtle. We should be very careful about all that. But there is a place for it. So back to the Bhakti program. Let's leave that till the more mature stage of our Krishna consciousness for now. Let me just stay focused on the happiness of young brahmachari. I just want to be in service. Service, this, that, the other, fantastic, this, that, the other. I have my liking, but here's some service. It's not really, I don't like washing pots, but I wash pots because I know it's pleasing to Krishna. It'll make my heart clean. That'll make my heart clean, so I'll wash pots, or whatever. And purification through the medium of service. And then as the medium of service becomes stronger, then the consciousness becomes elevated and emotions become elevated. It becomes more and more directed to Krishna and less mixed, just through the medium of service. Strongly making the sacrifice of the hearing process, that's brahmachari sacrifice, hearing. And then lower modes of nature become reduced, according to the Bhagavatam, so then my emotions become elevated instead of it becomes less mixed with the modes. But the propelling force is service, which is who I am, and direct that service propensity to the source of everything, Krishna. I don't have a clear idea of what that is, but just continue in the cultivation process and slowly, purification, clarification, intelligence, fixed, less influenced by the modes. So then the worldly part quiets, and the transcendental part rises. Gradual. Does that address your question? Okay. Okay, we'll end there. Srila Prabhupada.